music's a little bit loud here. Yeah, I hope you can all see me. Oh, no you can't, because there's something over the camera. Hey, wow, we got so much good stuff tonight. I'm sorry about the rubbish picture. That fancy camera that made me look so beautiful, that's broken. I'm complaining. We haven't had it very long, okay? So I'll just turn this down slightly. It's a bit loud, isn't it? Oh!
Live.
Yay, there we go.
Little bit of lag, we're doing the bit where you're taking the stuff off the camera.
Okay, so there we are. Arnie's in the hot seat next to me. The other problem with this camera as well, it's got a very narrow field of vision, so you can't see Arnie as well. Let's just...
Hello.
Hello. I think you can squeeze on. You have to come all the way over here now. You haven't got the nice camera. We have to get... There we go, there's Arnie. We're going to get a nice new camera. All right. Oh, I tell you what I need to get as well. Do we have... Anyway, I brought them in, the CDs.
What CDs?
The new Baron ones.
Oh, I have no clue.
Oh, if you can have a look for those, or Mummy can have a look for those. They're going on sale as well. You know, I know you'll love this music. And this is one of the tracks playing now. And tonight, we've got loads of good stuff. So I'm just giving everyone a chance to log in. Got a little bit of footage from Alan Wilson from my visit a couple of weeks ago. Alright, that's enough of this music. Thank you very much. It's lovely. Hope you want to hear what I'm saying. What else we got? Oh, before I go any further, is Finky... I got your hair right. Is Finky Stingers logged in? Because you keep sending me emails. Alright, let's just turn the music off now. Thank you very much. Okay, we enjoyed all that. Right, go on. It looks very wintry, doesn't it? This light, like a bit ghost-like. Ugh. People are asking, I got a lot of messages last week. Please say, you okay? You look really ill and tired and all this kind of thing. I'm fine, alright? I was worn out last week, and I did drift around a bit at the end. So this week, I started even earlier getting ready for tonight's show. And I've got a couple of questions for everyone. First one is, how long does it take to prepare a live video with information like this? Alright, hang on. Let's see if I can see some comments coming in. I'm going to go over. How long do you think? How long do you think? It's a bit of a trick question. I'll tell you how long it takes, but half an hour longer than however much time you allow for it, alright? Ah, this is great. So many people running late. Oh, well, thanks, Patricia. Patricia keeps me on the straight and narrow. So he looks over my work and checks it, proofreads. All the way over in Canada. Thank you, Patricia. Only a couple of minutes late. Wasn't too bad. Oh, an hour late. People are early late. Oh, the clocks went back. I thought it was just Patricia telling me off. That happens every day, usually. Aloha from Hawaii. Wow. I went to Hawaii once. Wow, fantastic. Oahu. I went to Maui. That's it, Maui and Oahu. Lucky me. Long time ago. I got free flights to anywhere in America. So I got the map out and went, hang on. Hawaii's a state. I'm going there. Don't think that's quite what they meant, but there you go. It was a little prize I got from a company I used to work for, and thank you. I got some old friends, I think, from Taxi Media back in my advertising days. We used to put posters on the side of taxis, and I used to sell them and stuff. And there we are. I made a deal with United Airlines. So there we go. Arnie's doing one-handed noisy typing. Right, I can say hello. Chris Wood. Am I early tonight? Chris, good to see you there. Johnny Nigma's here. Yeah, the clocks went back an hour. So I guess that's what people are referring to. Hello, everyone. Alan Griffiths. Hello, David Ryan. John Windsor. Oh, this is great. Everyone's logging in early. Wow. North Star. We got Alan. I can't say hello to everyone. I'm going to try. Hugh Evans. Chris Wood. Arnie presents... hello, Benny. Yeah, Benny. We still need to have that chat about how to have a video interview. So I got a couple of people lined up. Mandy. David Ryan. Wow. This is great. Hello, everyone. It's going too fast for me. I can't keep up. So that's great. What else we got on tonight's show? Yeah, I haven't seen Finky Stingers. He's usually quite keen to comment. Well, if you've seen this later, please, you keep sending me emails, which are really interesting. I try to reply, but your email address won't let me. I have to mention that. It's like all the good names have gone.com or something. Right. Oh, I just want to say to Andy in New Zealand, Kia ora. Are you here tonight? It's great people from all around the world. And the person who came up with the idea for the t-shirt, which I've been drawing up, I'm going to use it on a few things, was Tudor Williams. So I hope Tudor's here tonight. I'm sorry I'm not getting your name last week. And it was Mary Wrightson came up with the idea of the book plates. So if everyone remembers, if you had a copy of Trojan War, it was before I could see. I didn't expect to see Alan and Barham for months and months due to lockdown and all these other problems. And of course, this emergency came up, and I had to pop up there for a few days and take care of Alan and all that kind of thing. And so I have had what Mary came up with the idea was make a little insert called a book plate, put that in your book, and it's signed by Alan and Barham, and then you've got a signed copy. You can paste it on if you want to, or something like that, or just use it however you wish to do so. Okay, so we're going to be talking a little bit about a... hang on a second. Tell you what, let's put a little bit of a trailer up on here. Let's... seems I've done it all properly this week. Wow. It's been
Jake's on.
Jake's on. Hello, Jake. Right, let's just check the screen share works. That's not a very nice picture of Alan. He looks better than that, alright? This is just the way the camera's caught him. Frozen for a minute. So I'm just checking. Wow, the lag is enormous. It hasn't got to your screen,
26
Arnie.
seconds.
26 seconds. So I just want to check the screen share works before I press the button. We're going to have to redo all the settings again. I'm back on my old notebook computer as well because it's fair.
It does work.
Alright. So let's listen here.
Because the difficulty is we've got all restrictions on travel at the moment, don't we, Alan? But,
well, I'm glad you came, because without you, I am ill, and I need your help. So I think that would override any restriction. We did need a bit of help, and you gave it.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, we've got to
Thank you for being here.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure and honour for me. I mean,
Well,
got to keep you healthy, haven't we? We've got 20 years to go yet, Alan.
I don't think so, but I mean, I'll give it my best shot. You know?
Well, if you get to about 108, I reckon then we've got just about most of your work done, and you can just enjoy the rest of your life after that, right?
Thanks for them.
Once you get to 108, you can just chill out and just...
I would be playing golf.
No golf. That's a shame. I brought my clubs and everything.
No. I don't think about sort of age anymore.
Very quiet, the video.
I don't like to be reminded, though.
I try not to mention it,
Just what you do,
Yeah, just keep going on, isn't it?
We've done what we can. I would have wanted to have succeeded, years ago, if possible. We all like to bask in the sunshine, don't we?
Well, I think you should be basking in it.
And
I think you have succeeded.
but too many people fall in love with the subject, and they go to college and they fall in love with the subject, and they want to stay on and they become a PhD or something, and they never see that falling in love with the subject is not the thing to do. What you do is you have to treat it like a farmer treats animals. They breed them up and they sell some of them off or slaughter them and they breed the next one up. There's a constant flow. There's an interchange, and if you could see it that way, you're not going to have the same 50-year-old set of cows.
No sacred cows, are
No
you?
sacred cows. Not that it wants to, is it?
Yeah.
That's a bad analogy. It's the best I could do at the moment.
No, but I see what you mean, you got to keep taking on new ideas and things and checking out what's not working, isn't it?
What is
that what you're trying to say? I should
ask that long ago when people had horses and cats. Because I can remember when I was a boy, I was born like 32, pre-war, the milkman came around with his horse and cat. And the baker came around, that little van, wow! And if a car came down our William Grass Street, everybody went through the windows. What's happening?
Can I look at the car?
It's the doctor. Or something like that. It's the doctor was the only one here who came around with a car. It's a different world. Coal merchants still have it. Horse pulling a cart with sacks of coal on the back. And the coal was delivered to houses, and you lit your coal fire. And you can't beat the coal fire. Now we've all got electricity and we press buttons and the radiators come on. But
it's really dry, isn't it?
Occasionally we light a fire, because there's nothing like seeing a fire with flames dancing and that, it's different, So the world has changed.
Yeah. I'm really...
Alright, well thanks for bearing with me on that one there. I know it's not great doing this through a live feed, but I will be, there's quite a bit of this, and I will be putting it all together in a a slight. Let's go in a second. I'm putting this together in a presentation, in a video that I'll be putting up in a couple of days' time. All right. So he's got good form, as you can see. I have to say, when I got there, he was a bit groggy as always, because he really benefits from their company and all that kind of thing. Anyway, we got on really well, and we got a lot of work done as well, and his mind is as sharp as ever. So I'll show a bit more video towards the end of this evening, okay? Whoop, no, don't speak again, Alan, we've done that. Right, next book. Just want to remind everyone, St. Patrick Identified is out, and getting a good reaction there. Victor Van Orton, who maybe this is here. I know people quite like this picture. It's a very saintly looking person. It's an enigma. I'm allowed to comment about that. If you haven't already copied your book, please do so. It's only book sales and the odd contribution that keeps us going, all right? And it's a great book. What you'll find in the first part of the book is all about Patrick, and I know people complained, well, not my cousin. Neil, hello Claire, if you're watching. He accused me a bit of clickbait because I put St. Patrick on the title and didn't really talk much about it. To summarise the first part, he goes into great detail showing who St. Patrick was, his family tree, and how his mother seems to have had Irish roots, or be Irish even, or Erse, and his father was Welsh, and who his family tree is. And he was born in a place near Llandaff Charters Major, or near Cowbridge. And the book explains the history of Cowbridge, what it's called, and the politics of the time. So when this story of him being abducted, he hid up an ash tree, tree on end, the three ash trees, is a place you can still go to in Glamorgan. So that's presumably where he was from, where he was born. There's more details on that. Now, because he had his mother's mother tongue, he could speak some Irish or Erse or whatever the language was in those days, he was then able to converse, presumably with his captors, which helped his release. And then he came on to the idea then that he did not seem to follow the British style of Christianity. He was much more interested in the Roman style and bringing Roman influence to Ireland, and he get into all that kind of politics. So it's interesting when you hear Alan and Barham actually argue over this, because Alan says he's a Welshman, he was born in Wales, and his father's Welsh, and of course Barham says he's Irish, because his mother's Irish, and he spent most of his life in Ireland, his ancestors are Irish. So there you go. It's interesting, there's a lot more in there, and then you see how the evidence goes round the world, because St. Patrick's a huge thing. So if you've got someone who might be interested in this, you also get an adventure story as part of the book. So maybe a Christmas present for someone, who knows. I'm sure there's lots of people interested in St. Patrick out there, and they're on sale. Now, I got a lot to get through, and I'm not spend too long on anything. And I'd like some feedback on that as well, because some of the feedback I got last week was I went through the subjects a little bit too quickly. I didn't cover them enough, which I stand guilty of, and I don't know the way around it, really. Can't cover everything and cover anything in too much depth, so I guess you do more than one show a week. But at the moment, there's so much work to do on this project. There is so much work from Wilson and Blackett still to publish. There's my own work, there's editing the books, there's stacks going on. So a quick update on that, and then I'm going to talk more about King Arthur and some of the Llandaff Charters, the Book of Llandaff, or the Stolen Book, known as Book of Chad, up in Lichfield. It's a very interesting area to get into. Right, I'm just asking, any other comments on there? Steptoe and Son. I think me and Arnie were Steptoe and Son. Oh, the Goyve Boys. Yeah, I should really show it. Anyway, I need to ask some questions on this one. Sorry, I don't have everything ready. Oh my goodness, there's so much to do today. I've got a big box. This is my box of getting the stuff ready. As we'll see, the pieces are all in. We've got the boards, all that kind of stuff, so everything's looking great. There's thousands of pieces, so I hope these sell okay. But what I do want help with, the idea is to try and make some money on these rather than lose a lot, so we have to sell all of them, I think. Right, it's a great game, and also we designed the game so that you can play other games with it as well. And it comes in a beautiful box. Where's the beautiful box, come on?
No clue.
Ah, here's the beautiful box. Okay. I was actually playing this the other day, and someone hasn't put it back properly. Wow, this is so slick, isn't it? Right, so this is there. I will put it on screen in a second. Hang on. So there, just want to show quickly, don't spend too long on this. So it gives us a very nice box. It's a high quality box like this. And inside then you'll get a little bag with the pieces in, and you've got the board, and you can have the Tavel board, drafts chessboard if you want. You can use these for drafts games. You've got little mini chess pieces, you can order those as well. Now, where I want everyone's help, this was all going to be ready this week, but then I couldn't decide what to print on the lid of the box. Okay, now they do this rather wonderful, actually this isn't, they do a kind of metallic finish, gold or silver, and it can be, what I didn't realise, I thought it was just going to say Britain's Hidden History in the corner or something like that, because with these boxes, it's not just a case of using them for the game, you could use them for completely different stuff, gifts, I mean they are jewellery boxes. As Angie says, we're really selling boxes with a game inside. So I thought, what idea I had, what do you think if this had star map on it? Just a regular stars. Then, of course, I had the idea of putting a Babylonian star map on there. Or maybe it's going to be silver. So that would look quite cool, I think, because it's square. Can everyone see that on the screen? I think so.
Well, it hasn't come up yet, so...
It doesn't come up?
No.
That's ages.
It's coming up now.
Alright, thank you. So then, thank you. Hang on, just make sure you can see it. The lighting, I hope you can see that. Anyway, it's a box, alright? It's a good quality box. You can put little souvenirs in there. I was going to put some of my little polished stones as well. You know, there's the granite quartz ones. Some gems and stuff. Maybe use them for the game. But also, yes, so if you please put on the comments if you like the idea of this being a star map, or just saying Britain's Hidden History, or maybe some other idea. I wasn't going to put the name of the game on it, because, like I said, you can use it for other things. So, massive box full of pieces and boards, and we're good to go, except me suddenly going, oh, hang on, I reckon we could do something with that lid. Alright, Hieroglyphics, just wanted to bring an update here, some good news. Maybe we're finally making a little bit of breakthrough, as the book has been requested by Oxford and Cambridge University. Yeah, the Bodleian Library wants a copy, so it seems as though we're getting some interest. Maybe we're going to break through this barrier with the academia. It would be great, because they'd be extremely welcome, you know, really hoping to get more academics on board. And also Trinity College, and trying to get into the libraries of Scotland and Wales. So there we are. Maybe they just want to get to destroy it. Fine. Tell me what's wrong with it. Because the other good news, so I'm going to make a special announcement about soon, is with Stephen Pidgeon and his publishing with CIFA, are going to be publishing this in the USA. So you'll be able to get copies in America without having to order from the UK. And they're going to be producing it in a nice format. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like yet. That's up to them. But it sounds lovely. More of a hardback, perhaps. I don't know. So that's going to be great. And it does mean there's going to be a second edition produced. And there's been a surge of sales on these. And there's only a few left, the first editions. Or you can wait for the second edition, which will have a bit of extra information. Hang on. It should be a slideshow. Why am I not using the slideshow button? Come on. Alright, that's better. So if you're not familiar, I'm sure everyone's familiar with it, as it says there, how the Welsh language is the key to unlocking Egyptian hieroglyphs. If you know the Welsh word for something, it's dead easy. You just see the hieroglyph and say it in Welsh, and then the word that sounds like it is it. And there's a dictionary in there and exercises, how to learn and how to do. So that's going really well. Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Alan. Thank you, Patricia. Yeah, it's a huge step. It's, wow, it's really happening. They might want to burn it though. Thank you, Andrew. I'm expecting that. Yeah, Robert's going for the star map idea for the box. And even the image from the walking book cover. Arthur surrounded by cosmos. That I quite like. Yeah, Arthur on his horse, something like the picture on walking, I think he's referring to. I imagine it is. Hang on, just for those who haven't seen it. Something like that, Arthur, or maybe the Arthur I've drawn, or something like this. And then with the stars around it. Yeah, good idea, Robert. Yeah, we could work on something like that. Good to see Lego on board. Right, okay, so All Happening Cymroglyphic, second edition coming out. I don't know when. I got to get it written because they want to start printing it in America. And as you see, we're stuck up. Right, here we go. First Odyssey. You'll notice my name appearing in the bottom as well on this one. I hope you like the cover. We got a new name. I was worried that Odyssey Retold was the working title. And this is a story, well, as it says there, how an Egyptian circumnavigated the world in 632 BC and gave Homer his story. It's almost ready. So we're going to be putting, obviously, the blurb on the back, what the book's all about it, and then the logos and the price and that kind of thing. So it's almost there. And the reason is that the story Wilson and Blackett wrote originally, I mean, they've dropped hints and clues about this in their books since the 90s. They've had it there for 20 odd years. The problem was it was never really big enough to be a complete book, and they couldn't decide what to do with it, whether to give it out as a leaflet or a flyer or fold into another book. But it's such a massive discovery what they've done to show that this journey in the 7th century BC, so we're talking almost exactly 2,000 years before modern circumnavigations. I'm not going to say the name because there's me a little quiz in a minute. That it needs its proper thing. So what we've done, talking with them and going through it, is I've done a follow-up research, and I'm using the help of Britain's Hidden History Group, so please chip in. And what I'll be trying to do is look at, for example, there's mention of hieroglyphs in Australia. So we're doing some writing about that and trying to translate some of those. Maybe it's evidence of this journey. And the other thing which got really interesting, I'd never expected this, with starting off doing our theory in history, okay? And suddenly I'm learning about all the different passages through who discovered the straits and journeys around the Horn and with the passages and how you would sail this. Whether or not it's easier going east-west or west-east. How the routes could have worked. For example, did they go to New Zealand? I mean, difficult one to tell because there's contacts there with they got these green-eyed, white-skinned folk in New Zealand that predate the Maoris, but again, they don't seem to go back far enough for this. So I know there's people in New Zealand, and if you're over there, that's one reason to mention my kia ora again, and Andy. Any information, please, to show possible connections in New Zealand would be great. Having looked at the way sailing routes worked, like I said, you never run out of surprises in what you're going to have to research next, whether it's stars or how to draw maps. I've had to draw all these maps because everything's copyright protected, of course. And I'm starting to think that if you were sailing, you probably wouldn't go via New Zealand. You might have visited New Zealand and gone back. Oh yeah, I'm fine. Oh, thank you. I'll have some food here, but I'm in full flow now. You might have gone to New Zealand and come back, but more likely following the trade routes and the winds and everything, you'd have had to come around here, back up towards the New Guinea area. And I think the ferocious warriors, again, I have to explain a little bit. If you're new to this, what Wilson and Blackett have worked out is that if you follow the directions in the Odyssey, it details a journey around the world. It's absolutely fantastic. It's stunning. So you come out from the Red Sea and you head south. Sorry, from the Red Sea, probably Wassimasara, the harbour there. And then you'd come and hit into northwest India. And you got Mohenjo-Daro, which is archaeological evidence of it's been sacked in the right kind of period. So that fits with evidence. So I'm doing more research on that. Down India, because you got the story that they went south in a straight line by the winds for about 8 days. Well, if you're in the Mediterranean, you're hitting Africa. You can't do it. You can do it here. And what you do is you eventually get driven down to the South Seas. And then we've got like the headhunters and all the different adventures you see in the Odyssey, including the big one, is when you come down far south, is this idea of endless days. As Homer says in his books, if a man, and a paraphrase, not exact quote, but if you can manage without sleep, you could do 2 days' work every day. And this would seem to be a reference to being in the South Pole, where you get, if it's in there summertime, you get endless day, winter, endless night. And the other problems they had with navigation, because you can't see the North Star and you can't see the proper stars. So people like the title and the cover, and it's almost there, But I keep saying that, but it's going to go on pre-sale soon. The White Maori, that's it. We're on Arthur 1. Arnie presents... Arnie, what's that? What's all this?
I don't know.
Somebody must have been resting on the keyboard or something. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to do that. He wasn't even in the room, so I think somebody must have sat on the keyboard. All right, so if you want to comment on that, please. I'd love to know anybody, more information about the Gosford hieroglyphs, New Zealand. I'm starting to think now that the mighty strong fighting type people that were encountered were not New Zealand, more likely to be Tonga or Fiji or Samoa. You see all those rugby playing areas. One of those I'm thinking is more likely. And then there's a couple more island stops, possibly Guam. And then you've got like Korokoro and Easter Island and Pitcairn. Trying to work out all the routes, and it does definitely seem physically possible. You got the Kon-Tiki journey, which went from, let's get this right, South America to the Polynesians. So everyone's going that way, that's the difference. Sorry, everyone's going to the west, whereas he was going to the east. Anyway, right, my question was, sorry, I almost forgot. I want to show something about research, how we can, you've got to be careful. And in modern times, all right, so, hang on, there's the next page on here. Oh yes, sorry, I'll leave it on the shared screen. Who was the first man to circumnavigate the world? Man or woman? It happens to be a man. Who's the first man to circumnavigate the world? I'm not talking about ancient Polynesians or Australians or Egyptians and all the stuff that's in the book. It's all about in modern times. And I'm also not referring to... Anyone's going to give me the Chinese people who switched on it? Chinese admiral in 21, 23, roughly. Because it was a long journey. I'm not sure exactly when he completed this. That would be Zheng He. It's history, all right? It's hidden history. I'll show you an example of why this is relevant to how we do research. Anyway, so all those people who said Ferdinand Magellan, there we go. We got Elliot Flynn. We got other people there. You have successfully given the same answer that you would get if you did this on... Oh my goodness, where's my... if you Google searched it. So I'll show you here. Let's go back to screen sharing. Who made the first circumnavigation of the globe? All right, already typed it in. There we are, Ferdinand de Magellan. All right, anglicised to Magellan. His real name, my Spanish, your Spanish is better than mine, Arnie. Fernejo de Magellan, or something like that. All right. Now the curious thing is, I'll tell you now straight away, Magellan did not circumnavigate the globe. All right, he didn't. And if you look into it, you'll find he very clearly didn't. And if you look, the wording, there's some sneaky wording going on here, because what the answer is, who instigated and organised the circumnavigation of the globe. And this is interesting because what really happened to him, if you look at it, let's go to Ferdinand Magellan. I won't spend too long on this because it's not British history, but it is interesting to see how history gets messed about with, okay? And this is what I want to show it for. It is relevant. He's a Portuguese explorer, 1599 to 1522. The problem is that the circumnavigation, he died in 1521. And the journey wasn't complete until 1522. Spot the problem, yeah? There might be other people already aware of this. The problem was, when he got to the Philippines, he got into some trouble, meddling with the local politics, and got himself killed. So he certainly did not complete the voyage, and he wasn't like Nelson, where they put his body pickled on the ship and brought him back. He was... let's go to circumnavigation here. Look at the routes, and of course the trouble is everyone's going the other way. Everyone's always going west. The person, if you look very closely, you'll see this chap here mentioned, Spanish navigator Juan Sebastian Elcano. Now, if anyone mentioned Elcano on the comments, they get top bonus marks from me. Anyone mentioned Elcano?
Yeah, me.
Oh, you. Arnie, you can't spoil the quiz. Yeah, he knows. Arnie knows. Arnie gets the only one. Good job. I was supposed to say the prize on. If you kept your mouth shut a little bit longer, you might have got the prize. Look. Blew it. Anyway, so Juan Sebastian Elcano, and the problem, if you look at what's popped up here, see if you can spot why he doesn't get any credit. I'll give you a clue. It's in the first sentence of his description. All right, let's go to him. You see a slight problem, because Mr. Juan Sebastian Elcano is, he ain't Spanish, he ain't Portuguese. He's actually a Basque. He was Castile in those days. And this seems to be the problem. He's a Basque origin. And he has shared ancestry. There we are. Anyway, whatever about Basque. The point I'm making with the Basques is that it's a small country. Well, not even an independent country. It's been sucked into a larger empire. In those days, of the mighty Spanish Empire right next to it, and the Portuguese didn't like it much either. So it had a slight problem where the guy who was supposed to on the journey, Magellan, and as you'll see, I've written up this in the book as well, he actually made a right mess of things, and the only reason they did a circumnavigation of the world at all was because it was a complete failure. It was a complete failure. It was never meant to be a circumnavigation of the world. So I'll leave that there for now. You can read the book for the rest of that story. The reason it's important to the book is not for these political reasons, but because when you look down at... All right, let's do it on here quickly. Sorry, Mr. Elcano, and to the Basques. You got the Strait of Magellan. Hang on. Strait of Magellan. Check it. Well, it is important because we're trying to work out whether or not this strait here, see that cuts through there, that's the strait. Oh man, I never expect to be learning about navigation and the tip of South America and all that. And the idea is here that this is this part of Odyssey where you're looking at Kilda and that, and the two options. Which one do you go through? And the two options appear to be, according to Alan Wilson, and all the way around Cape Horn, the longer routes and being hit by icebergs, or do you come and cut through this narrow cliffs, which is where you're being crushed, and the Pacific and the Atlantic and all that, and there's islands here described in Odyssey. And I've discovered a couple of new ones to add in. And actually, I'll do a separate video on it, but I was checking through all, what have we got here?
New subs, yay. Thank you everyone who subbed.
Oh, he's got new subs 20%. Are you using this as a spamming opportunity, are you?
No, I haven't been spamming. I posted one message.
Right, okay, there we go. Patricia, yes, it's explained in 1421, the year China discovered the world by Gavin Menzies. Yeah, and I'd highly recommend that book. Highly recommend it. Basque is still fighting for independence. It is indeed. Nothing much has changed. Because, interesting coincidence, last year was the 500th anniversary of the journey, and a petition was put to UNESCO that he be recognised, because he's the one who went all the way around. You can read about a very brief history in my book. It's not the main part of the book, it's literally a page or two. I'm more interested in navigation and how you get through the straits and who did it and how they did it and found it and blah blah blah. But the 500th anniversary, they put a petition to UNESCO, United Nations Heritage, whatever they call themselves, saying that... I'm still too near this camera again, aren't I? Sorry about that. I got no focal length to change on this camera. I'm going to get a new camera by next Sunday, hopefully. So, could they please recognise him, because he's the one who saved this fiasco of a journey, really. Brought it back, and he's not... No one knows his name. No one knows who he is, really, do they? Anyway, we're all quite well-informed history people here. None of us knew. All right, okay, so I'm spending way too long on this. How am I doing? Oh, my God, I am. Oh! I got to do... it's just so interesting. I had to talk about that. So the point I wanted to make as well, one of the reasons I brought it up tonight, was this idea that... Sorry, my head's off the top of the screen. Well, I'll do my rubbish camera. Is that... Just hitting search on Google is not research, all right? Even if you write the question in, it's not research. It's just starting point. Okay. So now I come on to some more serious topic, and this is quite worrying. I got a few contributions from the Britain Hidden History group. One of which, hang on, well, every time I change screen, I see it takes it back off slideshow view. Right, I can see Thinky Stingers on there. Please send me an email again. I think you were late on to the show tonight. Thinky Stingers, please send me an email using a different email address, because that one you keep sending me, all the names are gone or something. I can't reply to it. You sent me a few over the last 4 or 5 weeks, and I have been trying to reply. So please, find another email address, please, and send it to me, because you sent me some good stuff. Anyway, this is Ian Togg Jenkins. I don't know what that's all about. What happened there? There we are. And what he's sent in, what we're finding out is very sad news, is there's more and more of these ancient cairns and standing stones and sites like that are being destroyed. And we had one, which I want to do a short video on. I'll try and include it. Sorry, and I do apologise. Someone let's share the story of the Odin stone up in the Orkneys. That was destroyed by farmers over many years, and that was a really important stone to the Orkney peoples, or the Orkians, I think they call themselves. No offence intended if I got that wrong. The Orkans, or Orkians, used to have annual festivals and seasonal festivals, all set around this stone, and some farmer decided all these people coming back and forth was spoiling his land, and he pulled it down. But didn't quite destroy it. That came much later, 18-something. So this stone had been there for thousands of years and smashed up. And you think, well, that's terrible. Those things used to happen in the past. Thank goodness they don't happen anymore. Well, rather tragically, they do. And it's happening all the time. Look at this. Sometime between 2016 and 2018. So I'll just read this. This is from Ian. Here are before and after photographs of the cairn. Called Deren Pwllhron, situated near the Brecon VOR, not quite sure what that is. Anyway, it's up in Brecon, somewhere on Cefnbach mountain above the Darren Valley. And it's just disappeared completely. What is going on? I mean, would someone have gone to the trouble of taking those stones or something? It's very, very worrying and sad what's happening. Is this the same? I got two here. One's from Dixie as well, so if I mix them up a bit, I do apologise. They just disappear. Here's one from Dixie, sorry. Needs to be a tumulus. It's clearly marked on the map. And there's a bit of a trace of it there. And I think you see, he sent me a number of pictures. I haven't been able to put them all in, unfortunately. But thank you, Dixie. He's found quite a few. And his carrier we haven't heard from ages was showing me on Google Earth Pro how you can go back in time. And what I'd ask people to do is, if you say, well, I live miles away, I'm in America, I'm in New Zealand, I'm in wherever, I can't do anything, or I'm too old, or there's a lockdown, heaven forbid. One thing you can do from your own home is use the Google Earth Pro. And if you look on the top, there's a slider, there's a time bar. Now, what's worrying is you'll find it goes back to about 2003, I think it is, or 5, I think it's 2003, when they first did a satellite mapping of everything. And then if you go back as early as you can, 2003, there's also the 1945 pictures, which is another thing. 2003, and have a look to see how many mounds and cairns and stuff you can see that might not be there anymore. And I'll give you the big clue. This one makes it seem sinister. It's not just vandals or something. Is my top tip is if you look at the modern Google Earth map, if you see a little clump of evergreens like conifer trees or something stuck in the middle of nowhere or halfway up a hill, or see this massive hill and there's one clump of trees, that's your starting point. It's an awful thing to say. So what you do there, get your Google Earth, center on that spot, and then move the time bar back to, say, 2005. And as you slide back, you might just see the trees appearing or disappearing. And if you go back far enough, you'll see a ring of stones quite often. And the trees will be planted there, and then, of course, the stones have been destroyed. Awful, but that's the way it is. And it's nothing new. This is the sad thing. Thank you very much to Mandy, who has been reading a book called Prehistoric and Roman Wales, by R.E.M. Wheeler, 1925. He loved the Romans, didn't like the Welsh very much, which is a shame, because I think he was in charge of University of Wales. But he wasn't Welsh, didn't like the Welsh. But he did do quite a lot of work cataloguing, and we got some items here. And my question is, I'd like to ask, if there's anyone here watching this from museums or professional archaeology, anything like that, can you please let us know what happened to all these things that were found, and where are they now? It says some of them went to various museums, but I can't seem to track them down. They don't seem to be on display. And why isn't there, like the British Museum, it says British on the door. How about a British section, which means proper British? Stuff done by the Britons. So these things, if you look closely at the details, they're a couple of feet high. Quite impressive. And these are Iron Age, I believe. I'll just read some of that. They're from Llanfair in Denbighshire, belonging to a series of about 11 such finds, mostly from Britain, but in one case from a female burial near Pogney and Marne. So this is interesting, right? Look at the connections to different places. One spoon of the pair usually bears a cross, and the other a small piercing, but the use of the spoons is unknown. Could be a Christian connection, could be much more recent than they think. Let's do some more research. The one at the top is from Cardiganshire, I apologise. So I've just photographed, well, I assume that Mandy, who does enormous amounts of work behind the scenes, enormous amount of research, just photographed these in their book. And it's really interesting. There's some more stuff here with the motifs and everything on it. And this, I believe, is from Lydney Park in Gloucestershire. Lydney Park is a crucial part of Welsh/British history in the Forest of Dean, okay? Gloucestershire might be considered England now, but that's only since, the 1450s or something. A mere blink in the eye of the history of the islands. And if you look at that, you'll find that it's a key part of the star maps and British history and the ancient history and all sorts. Lydney and Arthur 1, which I might even get onto tonight, you never know. I've got some few comments there. Let's have a look. You got an old dictionary. Good. Things. I hope you heard my comment about I need a different email address for you. Shed load on display in Cardiff Museum. Well, really, Chris, are there? If you have a look at Cardiff Museum, there's a lot on display. There's a lot of Neolithic stuff. They love the really ancient, Stone Age, all that kind of thing. And things more recent, and Roman and Norman and whatever. But well, you certainly won't see the word Britain. You might see Celtic, I suppose. But I'll go down again, Cardiff University again. I mean, I have to say, Cardiff University seems very disappointing to me. It's quite not a half-decent art gallery with some natural history at the bottom. It's what it feels more like to me. Dinosaurs, all that kind of stuff. Johnny Ningmer, we have copies of local standing stones in a local museum. The originals in the British Museum. Excellent. Can you just tell us where that is, Johnny? And also, are the originals on display in the British Museum? I know where they might be. Are they on display? Can we see them? Alright. If anyone goes, what's Alan Rees saying? If anyone goes up to the church, put a stone on the wall, it'll help preserve the church. Are you talking about St. Peter's Church? I assume St. Peter's Supermorton. There are thousands of finds in museums that have never been displayed that you can ask to see them. Richard, well, I hope you're right, Richard, because there's lots you would like to see. Because it gets onto a larger point. You'll see some particularly bad examples in a minute. The larger point is, hang on, it would help if I shared a screen, wouldn't it? Muppet. Alright. I don't think you actually see what I'm talking about. There's the first one, alright, the picture of Mandy, thank you very much. Okay, there's some, the fire dog, that is, and his spoons, and thank you very much, Mandy. There's loads of work. And there's the title of the book, if you're looking for it. Prehistoric and Roman Wales by Wheeler. Okay, alright, that's the other one I was looking at. The cat's meowing now, you're ruining my vid. Oh, he's letting the cat in. The problem is that it's the lack of prominence. It's not just can you find them, can you ask to see them. It's the lack of prominence. Because one of the problems you get, it came up in discussion on Britain's Hidden History today, is when a site is found, the first thing they assumed was, and this was in Buckinghamshire, I think, this site must be Anglo-Saxon, because the objects are very similar to loads and loads and loads and loads of finds all over the place that are also Anglo-Saxon. Now, I'm not going to get into the argument of where it is Anglo-Saxon and whether or not any of those sites are being correctly identified and the logic, which I think is completely flawed. But you don't have a situation whereby there's loads of museums showing loads of British goods. So people think, oh, actually, this could be British. It might be Anglo-Saxon. It could be British as well. There's loads of stuff in museums. I've seen them. They're on display. You go to the British Museum, we've got a Chinese section, Egyptian section, Persian, Mesopotamian, whatever. There's hundreds of sections. Where's the sort of, I hate the term Dark Age, but, Arthurian Britain section, something like that. Okay. Now, this is what I want to talk about here, and this is very polite academic speak from someone who is not a fan of Welsh history particularly, but fair play to him here. It's in the book. What I want to talk about here, in the valuable list of gold talks published by Mr. Crawford and blah, 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 the details 2 Welsh talks were assigned to the British Museum. One from Breconshire and the other from Glamorgan. Inquiries of which I've been readily assisted by Mr. R.A. Smith show that these are merely variant descriptions of the one talk noted above. The somewhat divergent account of this talk are further complicated by the fact that when found it was a single circle, more or less as shown in Smith's dictionary, whereas it's now in spiral form. So centre around talk, it's a priceless piece of archaeology evidence. It's gold, it's from Wales, and Mr. Smith has ascertained for me that it was bent into its present form after its acquisition by the British Museum. It having bends at that time which agreed with the restored form. So he said, well, we reckon it used to have bends in it, so we put them in. They just bent it. Another is said locally to have been...
Just bent an old ancient
They just took an ancient artefact and just bent... I'll show you a picture in a second. And they just bent it because they decided it looks better like that, right? Another is said locally to have been found long ago in a mound somewhere between Cowbridge and Bridgend in Glamorgan and to be melted down by a Cardiff jeweller. I mean, this is the one I really want to get into. This may be another version of the story of the discovery of a golden helmet in this region. And the stories may be inspired by the name Golden Mile, while for several centuries been applied to a strikingly straight stretch of the Roman road west of Cowbridge. Well, look at the map. I was thinking that's somewhere near 5 Mile Lane, and now the whole area has been destroyed in the last few years, okay? And the helmets are curious, because I really want to find helmets. I know I've got... might be in this presentation, I'm not sure. There are other helmets found and were sent to British Museum for safekeeping, and they've never been seen since. And they were weapons and stuff that went to back in around about 1800s, maybe slightly earlier, 1790s. A whole load of swords and helmets and armour and stuff was sent to, what do they call themselves? Some society, in those days, some posh blokes get together and set up the Yield, archaeological interest group. Never seen again. Whether they stole them, lost them, or they were stolen from them, who knows? This is a 1925 academic book we're reading out of here, okay? A third group of gold objects consists of penannular rings, which I'm not quite sure what that means, with extended terminals, which although solid are sometimes cupped. They're doubtless armlets, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, the point is they seem to have gone as well. All right, so here's... Oop. I thought I pictured the display. Ah, damn it. Anyway, Mandy sent me another picture, and you can see the talks. Talk is like a thing around your neck. It's a sign of wealth and whatever. It also protects your neck from getting hit by a sword. But you put different valuable ones on your arms, on your neck, and it's a portable means of carrying your wealth around and to show status, okay? Like a neck, well, you get the idea. A collar. And the one, I'll put the picture up later, that's annoying. It's been completely twisted into a spiral. I mean, not just bent a bit, it's been completely disfigured. And it shows the complete lack of respect for British and particularly Welsh archaeology. It's the only other situation whereby any new site or dig is assumed to be anything but British or Welsh. And I dare you, well, not dare you, that's the wrong word, challenge people who said, there's hundreds and hundreds of sites labelled as British around the UK. Find me some, please, and send them through. Not prehistoric and Neolithic and all this other nonsense they come up with. Stuff that's from, say, anything from 0 AD to 700-800 or something like that, or pre-Norman. I hate the term Dark Ages because there's so much information they just won't accept it. But that, you know what I mean when I say that, the Arthurian period. Find me some sites in England where they've said, this one's British. It's not Anglo-Saxon, or it's not Roman. Maybe you have a good challenge, and I like to see them, and I like to show them as well. If you can find them, please. Because one of the ones I'll do with Johnny next week is Elmet, for example, which is sort of Yorkshire, Cumbria, and all that. Right, how's the time doing? Oh, we're 5 to 9, so what I was going to do... talking too much. I guess the idea is to talk too much, isn't it? I was getting a bit ranty tonight as well, a bit more rested this week.
Oh, I would have loved to see you have a real go at some dude who's saying something or something.
Someone did... Tractors pulled it down. What are we going to hear? This is the other golden private collections. Thank you, Arnie. Yeah, the walls are getting damaged by the cows as well. Yeah, you've been up there and you've had a look. Yeah, it is a bit...
cool place.
It's called Dark Ages because the experts on it are dim. Thank you, Figgy Singers, yes. Dark Ages, nothing was written, nothing was done, no one had the lights on. Yeah, that's the problem, Jordan, isn't it? Well, here's some... This is like, not just thrown together these programs, This is coming down to my bashed up copy of Llandaff Charters, because for some reason this seems to be very popular this week. And there's a bit more video to come of Alan as well, talking a bit of wisdom, alright? So I don't know what the lighting's looking like. The lag's enormous. Hang on. It's going to be that little corner in the top corner, isn't it? Anyway, it's one of the big black books, the BBBs. And it's the Charters of the Kings. And I'm as guilty as anybody. I speak to loads of people say, have you got a copy of this? Yeah, I got a copy, but have you read it? No. It's quite daunting, and it's a bit off-putting, the title. You think it's going to be a load of, just loads of charters, declarations, one after another. And I'd have to say, Wilson and Black didn't really sell the book with their name, Charters of the Kings, and the chapters are called Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3. So it's not very appealing to dig into and read. Even I was off-put for a while, and I say even me, because I'm a bit of a fanatic and obsessively read everything they do, including piles and piles of typewritten notes. And I'm going to do a little read for an introduction, just because, I'll tell you something about the book. I had 2 pairs of glasses, because I'm always losing them. Where's my glasses, Al?
No clue.
Thanks.
These are the ones I have.
Your little brother's glasses. Alright, let's go very quickly, okay?
I unlocked those.
And while I'll tell you what I'll do as well, while I'm doing that, I shall give you some really cool pictures to look at. And you'll
frozen.
I think I just knocked everything out. I'm like, oh shoot. With this big book. Hang on, sorry folks. So annoying.
This is a meme picture.
A meme picture, yes. Not even a nice picture of me, is it?
Look.
It's a terrible picture. Thanks, Hard. It's not funny, mate. All right, everyone's stuck there now. Come on. Video capture device. Don't start doing this again. Yay, there we go. I don't know what happened there. Sorry about that, folks. Where was I? There was I standing on the... There we are. You can see that person there, so you can see, all right. Okay, what I want to do is just read a little bit from the introduction. It's true today as when this was written back in the 80s or something. Right, the Kingdom of South Wales was in Roman times known as Siluria, probably an ancient Welsh word escloig, abounding in prospects. From 500 BC well up to AD 500, most of what is now England lay under undrained marsh and swamp, bushland, and the Welsh terrain of coastal plains and rolling hills was much more attractive to the herdsman nations of the British, and along their shores and on the hills lived much larger populations. Settlement in England was along the river valleys, on the rolling downs and hills of the south. In Wales, the British kings dwelt on their personal land holdings, grazing their herds, philosophising with their druids and bards, worshipping the one god. Theirs was an enlightened society, a civilised and advanced nation with warrior traditions, and fiercely protective of its institutions and customs. Of them, quite naturally, the only records which survive are from Wales, where the kingdom was based, and these records, although substantial in number, have generally been misunderstood, misinterpreted, and subsequently neglected. In fact, there's been a barrier between the Welsh records and the rest of the world for many centuries. And this was the barrier of language. The truth of the matter is that the Welsh language has preserved the culture and heritage of the nation down through centuries of suppression and has become a two-edged sword. On the one hand, he kept the language. On the hand, well, the language is being changed anyway at the moment, I would argue, but still. There's a little bit more of this. For centuries, English kings and later parliaments actively attacked the Welsh language in a very determined manner in successive bids to eradicate it. Their legislation was savage, brutal and barbaric, and something which they carefully kept out of their modern history books. As far back as the unprincipled Richard II of England, laws are framed to prohibit any school from operating in Wales, and any child from being educated, would forget their past and would be more easily controlled. The intention being to brutalise the population into ignorance, so that they would forget their past and could be more easily controlled. This went on. Does this sound familiar for what anything's going on at the moment? Sorry, no politics. This went on for some 200 years. All courts were to be held in England. What's the second time?
Supposed to be with your face just in the corner.
Oh, sorry. Hang on. Thank you, darling. Yeah, Arnie's was looking at the screen.
Oh, I thought last time I told you.
There we go.
You said
Sorry about
you
that.
know what you're doing.
Thank you, Zev. Thank you. Sorry, that bruiser I meant, not me. As far back as... hang on a second. This went on for some 200 years. All courts would be held in English with virtually the entire population speaking only Welsh. No office of any sort could be held by a man who did not speak English. At one period, the law enacted that whilst Englishmen could marry Welsh women and inherit their lands, no Welshman could marry an English woman in the same way. The natural reaction was to smoulder in revolt and to pass on their legends and culture in the time-honoured way of word of mouth and preservation of old scripts. And I'd like to read more of this, tells you more about it, but what this does, I'll come back to this next week, I think, because this book is very deceptive. It's not what you think this book's going to be, because it's got the story of Arthur in there, how it's recorded, how the evidence helps you put together what happened in this early medieval time. So I'll just put the last bit there. I had to read all of it. The production of this book has been the result of concentrated hard work and dedication, regardless of the odds. All approaches to any and every one of the official offices of bureaucrats in Britain resulted in completely negative and obstructive responses from the inept, incompetent, useless, spineless, time-saving, parasitic breed of idle, unscrupulous, cynical little men. For example, the Arts Council gave a quarter of it. Anyway, there we go. Right, so I'm going to do... I was going to give a little summary of what's in this book, because it is worth reading. It's better than... it put me off for ages, and I thought today I'll do a thing on it, and I realised there's more in it than I'd thought about. Some of it's quite well hidden at the back. So just go there. I'm sure you'll recognise that. Young Alan Wilson. Even younger. Look at that, with the typewriter out. Isn't it marvellous? There's a young Baron there. Typewriter, looking all educational. And here's some of the drawings from the books, because the first thing you get in the book is the history of all the kings, who they were, when they ruled, Bran, Caradoc. There's been a lot of discussions lately. I don't know why it's coming up a lot lately about who was Caradoc, who was Bran, all that kind of thing. So, let's get it right. Here we are, Caradoc, son of Bran, king of Britain. And then we're discussing who's the first Christian king. And I have to jump through some of this. I think it's all Barham's handiwork. He used to be a tattoo artist, which is where a lot of the money for their joint products came from, by the way. Everyone just assumes Alan put up all the money, but not quite the case. People underestimate Baron at their peril. And one of the things I want to show here, that I think some of their positions have changed on some of these things. On this one, you can see here, this is a picture from Carwent. All is in the book. So it's... and you can see there, King Meurig and King Arthur would have been operating out of this fortress. And here we go, Ventus Silurum. So I know is Silurus out there. Silurus 2020, if you're watching. I hope you're watching. He's living almost opposite these walls right now. So King Ithon used this, and this goes. So he's built. He's acknowledging this was Roman built. There we are. Being more generous than I am, Alan. And later occupied by British kings. And then we got. This is great. This is brilliant. This is the Norman castle of Caldicot, which is repaired around the year 800 AD. But it's Norman. The Normans didn't get into Wales to at least 1091.
Like,
So there. Well,
if it had been fallen down and repaired before the Normans arrived. How did they build it?
Yeah, well, exactly. It was repaired 300 years before the Normans turned up.
If it was repaired, it means it was built before.
Yeah, so the Normans might have extended it or repaired it or something. Thank you, Arnie. You're right, yes. So there we are. Crack Hill. Thank you, Mandy. I'm not sure what you mean by Crack Hill for that golden mile. I'm not sure if people... So I'm going to go a little bit near the microphone. Got this new microphone here. All right. And then the book also talks about the stones and how you can read them. And this is Pompey. It says there, name of Pompey, I think, is a friend of Arthur. 6th century, and it translates it. So there's loads of good stuff. I've just photographed a few pages from the book. And another one here, Prince Budic of Brittany, because I'm pretty sure that one's in Margam, that stone. They call it the Bodvok stone, and no one seems to know what it is, except it's actually Budic is the one spelling and Bodvok being the other, and you can read all of it. There we are, I just say that I was right. Pompey, the friend of Arthur, and it tells you what the stone says. There's more stones. Stone talk. This is a rather tragic picture from 1981. So it's not that long ago, really, is it? And this was right in the centre of Cardiff. And, of course, Cardiff City pulled it down to make way for some ugly thing. There's no real ancient history in Cardiff, apart from the castle, which is rebuilt by the Buttes. And they've got, of course, the grave of Joseph and Arimathea in the middle, but they don't recognise that. I was speaking to Cadu about it, but I'm not sure if what the best way forward is. So there we are, rather tragic. And what I've also done here, that's what I put in there. Yeah, this is something which is discussing, is using the charters, you can trace back their family lines. And this is St. Caddock. And you can see I've marked this here. We're a bit late now, but I was going to talk about how they claim descent all the way back to Belly. Now, some people are saying that Belly is Jesus. But according to Wilson and Blackett and some of the charters they found, he's the brother of Jesus. And I think it says in here he might even be married to the husband of Mary. I'll just read this little bit. I'm going to get the whole book up. What is fascinating is that St. Caddock is claiming descent from the family of Jesus and Mary. The idea is that Belly and Anna are married. So he's married Anna, okay? They have a son named Abelach, and you'll see this in the new book. The other book I'm going to do, I'm just working all hours at the moment, writing and stuff, and editing, is the Britain's First Christianity. Excuse me. This is in that book as well. There we go into a bit more detail. In either event, this Abelach is the key, all right? This Abelach, the next one in the line there. Abelach is crucial, because that could translate as Alpheus or Astabolus. This is a very serious claim. So the Bible is Belly, Anna, Alpheus and Mary, implying that Alpheus is the father of the brothers of Jesus. That's where it gets a bit complicated, because Jesus has siblings, which causes all sorts of problems if he is divine, if he's the son of God, then how can you have brothers? Are they all sons of God? One of them is supposed to be a twin brother, which makes it very complicated if you're talking about a sort of virgin birth to a god and a twin at the same time. How do you explain that? Oh, sorry, I think that's Thomas. So the Bible... anyway, so you can read that yourself or get the book. And the new book will go into more detail. So there's a lot of stuff in this book which is very interesting. And I was going to talk a bit more about that, because I'll just give a quick summary, since I've done one of all the chapters. And some of the areas if you've got any areas you want me to talk about in future episodes of this, I'll be happy to do so. Trying to get some more feedback of what people want it was very helpful, if you could, please. So what we have in the book, we've got the list of the kings of Gwent. Then we've got the legend of King Arthur and how that comes together. Then we've got the compiling, how the charters were compiled in 1108. Hang on, what is the next slide? Just so Alan pop up there. All right, we have a bit more Alan in a second. And what I wanted to talk about as well, which I'll just mention briefly, because I am going to do a separate video on this, because I'll be doing some research on this in my spare time, like I have any, which is the Book of Llandaff Landarensis. or the Book of Tyler, which used to be known in Wales. Now, someone asked a question on one of the comments a couple of weeks ago after one of the videos, because I was saying that the Book of Llandaff was borrowed and not given back, and Wilson Black would call it stolen, by Lichfield Cathedral. And I mentioned this in one of my videos, and someone said, well, no, if you go to Library of Wales, you can see they've got the book there. And sure enough, it did show something there, but what it's showing is the printed copy. The first printed copy was made in 1840. Now, the original book, goes all the way back to about 1100. So, we're not talking about the same thing at all here. And it's crucial. This is crucially important to Welsh history, because ostensibly the book is described as some sort of the book of the life of Tyler. There's a few lives in there, or it's a gospel, or it's a sort of... Yes, please. Oh, thank you. Look at that. Fresh cup of hot tea. Thank you, darling. Can you get rid of that one? That's a cold one there. Wow, support services are doing well. I don't like the way I fill the whole screen. I'm sorry about that. That reminds me of 1984. I don't like it. So the crucial thing here to remember is that it's not just about the religious text in the middle of the story. The key is all the stuff written in the margins and agreements. So if you and I were to make a deal, usually it's land and inheritances, mostly land or atonements. There's a fair amount in there about people having killed someone and having to pay a what do they call it? The Danes call it the blood guilt or whatever. It's the Welsh, the British had a similar system where you could atone or pay a fine. So you might have to give so much beer every year, which I thought was quite amusing. Killed someone, and in return you have to give so many barrels of beer a year, which seems a bit weird.
What?
There you go.
Paid in beer?
They're paid off in beer. So Monica, yeah, I know you're a bit interested in this. So Belly was the brother of Jesus, and Jesus was family of Caradoc. Who the heck was Jesus? His real name then. Who was who's the brother of Belly? Why is it so complicated? Sorry, Llandaff Charters, Jordan. Yeah, I want to go back to the... I tell you what, we'll do... I'm going to get everything done, but I need to get out this Britain's Hidden Christianity book as well, because the questions Monica raises there are really important. Who exactly was Jesus? What was his name? Not such a crazy question as it seems. Because it's really important, because the question that Monica's hit onto there is the important thing to remember here is that the British royal family claims descent from the Holy Family. So are they claiming descent directly from Jesus? Or are they claiming direct descent from brothers and sisters? It does make a difference, because although they're related, it's not the direct blood in a way, if that makes sense. There's so much I can say at the moment, really, isn't it? But without referring to what's in the book, which is not only so much I can talk about so far. I mean, you have got whether or not was Jesus crippled from what happened on the crucifixion scenes, whether he's able to become a father, whether he's already a father, and there is evidence of in the Bible itself of him already having a son. You could say Bar Abbas, for example, whereas Bar is like the Welsh Ap. Bar is son of Abbas, and Abbas is the master, so son of the master. Mentioned in the Bible on the crucifixion scene is Barabbas, could be son of the master, as being the one. So when Jesus is up for being executed and the crowd are given a choice, it's kind of a deal is being done, is the idea, where in return for handing himself in, Jesus' son is released. Okay, anyway, I wasn't meant to go into too much of that tonight. Maybe we'll do that next week. I know people are very interested in that. Just something about this book, which is so interesting. Why the Liber Book of Llandaff, thank you, Jordan, was so important. Hey? Sorry, the Normans at the Battle of Bamborough. Oh, yeah. Wait. Arnie's doing the Normans in the project. I want to do something about that next week as well. I'm doing that at school at the moment. It is a little bit frustrating that good school in Wales and history seems to start in 1066. It's okay. I'm calm. I'm over it. And I volunteered to go in and say, can we talk a little bit about the Dark Ages or Arthurian Britain or, Wales, the bits we can actually see out the windows rather than thinking Normans and Anglo-Saxons. But there you go. So I just want to say a little bit. It's got... Right. What is interesting in the book is that, and that's why this list... No, Alan, you're not supposed to be on yet. Don't jump on yet. I did make more lists than this, is that there's also lists of bishops in there, and they go all the way back to 165, 180 for the founding. And the first person on the list goes all the way back to 55 AD. He's not the bishop because they haven't built the big buildings yet. And the book talks about the Christianity going all the way back there and providing evidence for it.
You're not screen sharing.
Nope. And then, so we got, what's interesting is you got the founding of the church, so 165 to 180 AD. And then you got a list of all the bishops who ran it all the way running up. Which is interesting because if you go to Llandaff Church itself, you'll find that... I typed all these out. Where'd I put the slide? I bet it's after the thing about Alan, sorry. Is that the church itself only goes back as far as Doverick and claims it was started then. There's some great stories then all about how you can track down Arthur, and then you got all the Cardiff stuff, Welanishan, there's Vane, Roth. What else we got? Then the bishops, you got the martyrs, the persecutions. So it's a really big story to really. And then as you get towards the end of the book, then you got the sad tale of when the Norman English really take over South Wales. And what you see, where the only consolation is, and it's not much of a consolation, is that as all the land was being stolen and added to English churches, they were getting enlarged at the expense of Llandaff. That and also West Wales, he's St David, and this is where it ties in with his becoming more prominent, rather than being the proper Saint of Wales, as I've mentioned before. It was that the bishop at the times would send letters complaining to the Pope. Where else can you go to? You know, if the king is on the side of the people taking your stuff, who can you appeal to? Well, what you do is you appeal to the Pope. And what you have then are these papal bulls, they're called, which are the letters back from the Pope. Henry I was particularly bad for grabbing the land. So there's letters from the Pope to Henry I. And you can see him acknowledging that... what's useful about this is it gives an outside third party verifying British and Welsh history. How can it be Dark Ages? There's letters from the Pope talking about these people. You know, how can you say it doesn't exist? Another one interesting, and Richard Davis, I know he's watching there, is that... is the Llancarvan Charters. There's a Llancarvan Abbey as well, and that has its own set of charters which needs sorting out, okay? I think we're off on a completely different conversation there. Chris, thank you, yeah. College of Theodosius Atlantic Major was robbed by Fitzsimmons. Oh, we're going to change the producer. Arnie's got things to do. And who's in this hot seat now? Leon's jumped in. Okay. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is what you've all been waiting for. Enough of me talking. I'm going to have my cup of tea I've been brought. Hopefully this is the second video now. I'm sorry the sound that isn't very good, because I will be redoing this as a longer video, putting all the clips together. There's a few more clips about different things we talked about. I just thought people would enjoy this. I hope you can hear it okay. I'll do my best. Go. Come on, go. It seems to want... there we go.
See, I'll be good to see you.
Why not? You're always welcome, and we're very happy to see you, and you do assist us. And the main thing is we do need a little help sometimes. And being isolated is not necessarily the best thing. It's the best thing in some ways to concentrate on things, but occasionally you need someone else to give you a little bit of extra help, from different angles, assist you in many ways. So welcome.
Yeah, no, I'm very pleased to be here. Always good to see you.
Good. Well, we're just doing the same thing. We've not changed anything. We just do a little bit now and again. We do less now than we used to. Well, there's not much to do, is there?
Well, we've got so much already done in there. We've got 9 books so far. There's 3 more books on the way.
Yeah.
So what I want to talk about is what is the one about Ben Arth, the Egyptian circumnavigating the world.
Yes.
So I've got, you give me notes on that, so I've typed all that up, illustrated it, so...
Yeah. It makes sense, doesn't it?
I think it's fantastic.
The directions and everything's there, you know. I think it boils back to the same old story that people claim to be able to decipher Egyptian, and they can't. And that they use a cocktail of 2 or 3 ancient languages, Coptic and God knows what. And that's, if you think about it, it's crackers. There's one language and there's only one translation, like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
I mean, we decipher French to English, or the Germans read German into Russian or something. It's from one language. You don't use 3 different languages to translate one outward. And I think this is not generally been realised. I think people were just so happy to have something to say about the Heidegger's. In a sense, it's a lucky man. Drowning man,
yes.
dressing in a straw. And a drunken people more likely to...
Yeah, I don't think it's very nice of them to admit they couldn't do it either. You got all the best brains in the world saying that we can't do it.
Well, I remember at the end of the war, the Americans, we were used to being bombed and going to these little air raid shelters they gave us 6 bits of metal like that. You put them in 3s and bits of that. You dug a pit about 4 feet deep, put them in.
Like Anderson shelter, yeah.
And you got in the shelter at night, you slept on there some nights. But as the war went towards the end, you weren't doing it. But there's a way of living, you can easily adapt. People don't realise how easily they can adapt, and therefore to resist change is not natural. Because when I was young, the beggar came round with his horse and cart, and the coalman delivered the coal with his horse and cart, you know, and everything was horses and carts. And the keen gardeners would wait for the horse to go, and if it dropped something in the street, they'd shovel it up. They'd do for their gardens. There's one guy who was notorious. He'd be watching every horse and cart, you know.
Well, it's all spade and bucket ready, isn't it?
So, you know, it's a different world now. It's all motor cars and lorries and delivery vans. The whole world has changed. And I think people have got to get used to the idea that everything always changes, including our evaluation of history. This is really what the problem's been. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, no, perfect sense, yeah. And unfortunately, it seems a lot of people are very determined to just defend what we have, isn't it? This is the
status quo. Because they're comfortable with it. And the guy who's written a book on the old style, that's what he said.
On the old one, sir?
On the old style or the old ideologies. He doesn't want to be told, hang on, your book's a little bit out of date and maybe 10% right. You know, he says, well, that. So he pulls that to the nail.
Yeah.
And people who are into subjects are often into the subject. They're not into research. They're into that thing as it is, and they want to stay as it is.
Well, they're experts in it, aren't they?
Well, they're experts in what is. Even like what is. And if you say it's different, they're going to. You know. Of course, the publishers should jump at it. And they don't. The publisher will always go off to see the local academic and say, what do you think? The academic's sitting there, he's got the same lectures he's been saying for 20 years, all written up. The next batch of students going to get the same old spiel with a little bit of difference. And he's all wrong. Well, he's not going to react well, is he? And it's always the professor at the top of the department who will block us. He's always the top guy, because he's done it all his life. And he's not going to say, I was up the creek without a paddle, I'm ahead of this, on the top of this pile, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the trouble.
Well, it's a strange thing if you think about it. If I produce a book saying Professor A has got everything wrong, to go and ask Professor A what he thinks of it is not very helpful, really, is it?
Well, you don't say he's wrong, but it's automatic that it implies he's wrong, you know?
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, of course he's not. He's not going to say, oh Christ, I've been telling people, marking their exam papers and lecturing to them, and I'm at the creek without a paddle. You know? It's not a very nice situation. But it happened, you know. I remember towards the end of the war, I was 13, yeah? and they came up with this new, they dropped the atom bomb, one on Hiroshima and one on Nagasaki. These two bombs. Now, we were used to being bombed. My grandmother's house was bloody bombed, and we knew what a bomb would do. It knocked down half a dozen, 2 or 3, or maybe 10 houses. But one bomb could destroy a city. That was beyond our well, that's not impossible.
When the atomic bombs went off, is it?
I'm talking about Hiroshima, Nagasaki and Hiroshima. They dropped these 2 bombs, atomic bombs, on the Japanese. They took out 2 cities with 2 bombs. Well, it was beyond your comprehension. You just couldn't imagine it. It was very difficult to grasp. And I think we're in the same situation. We've got a bit of an atom bomb here. Because we're saying, hey, fellas, you've all been going down this winding lane and there's a nice straight road over there. And I think it's really a human problem, not a factual problem. That's what we face.
Right. So like evidence or anything?
Well, nobody, he's a man, he's a lecturer, a professor. He's done his work honourably and honestly. And he thinks he's on the right track, and he suddenly say, mate, you've been going in the wrong direction, wrong side of the road, driving the illegal car, you're all wrong, mate. And that's very difficult for any person to comprehend.
Yes.
Or to accept. And I think they feel, gosh, all my students are going to think I'm an idiot. They're not idiots. They're dedicated, hard-working people who work with the materials they have to hand.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as that. Now we've come up with an angle that opens up things from a different vista. You get a different vista, We're not peeking through keyholes anymore. We're throwing the door wide open.
Mm-hmm. Yes, very good.
And we're not sort of, looking at things through a telescope. We're flying right over it and photographing it from above. So there's different angles. We see things differently because we've found the key to looking at it differently. Now, there is a little bit of racism in this because when I was young in school in 16, 17, 18, or college in Cardiff, we were told by some of the lecturers, you better try and lose your Welsh accent because you won't get a job. Most people now work in England. If you've got a Welsh accent, they think you're an idiot, right? And you've got to try and lose it. Actually, we're trying to tell people to lose their accent.
Well, I have to say, people don't believe I'm from Aberdeen.
Yeah, and that's diabolical. And you've got to realise that things have changed. Now it's acceptable. You can have a Scots accent, but of course that's because the Jamaicans came in with Jamaican accents. And they couldn't really be nasty to black guys, could they? See what I mean?
So accents have to be more
and Indians and others came to contribute to our society. I'm not being funny about it. But things have had to change. And TV is no longer limited and radio to the few in London, the BBC, It's now universal. There's all sorts of radio and other stations, and all sorts of TV stations and filmmaking. Anybody can buy a camera and do it in the house. Mm-hmm. So, the idea you have to have the Oxford, Cambridge accent. Mm-hmm. Not insulting the people who go to Oxford and Cambridge, they're all decent people, but, the idea you have to have this upper class accent is out. And these are the sort of social differences we accept without realising it. So what we're doing is the same with history. We're saying, let's have another look at it.
Excellent.
Yeah, isn't that wonderful? I thoroughly enjoyed watching that again. I could listen to him all day. I do quite often. So there's a couple of things. There's the terms of phrase and everything, just wonderful, aren't they? With there's a couple of things I wrote down there with when you're trying to point out to them, with the hieroglyphs, you've been following this winding path and getting in trouble with it. Well, we found there's a straight road over here. It's just beautiful. And all these years you've been looking through the keyhole when, we've opened the door for you. And things like that, and instead of looking through a telescope, we're flying over and photographing it. It's a different way of looking at things, and this is what we need to get across. And it's, the old philosopher is in wonderful, great form. So there you go. I think we'll end it there. Oh, I don't like leaving it like that. That's kind of a glum picture of Alan. Let's try and stop him somewhere. There we are. That's better. There you go. There's in. I think a smiley picture would be nicer, but there you go. All right. So I'll let Alan have the last. Well, he hasn't really had the last word. He's got the last part of the thing. So I say there's a lot more in that book, and we'll talk more about it. King's List, Saints, who they all were, that kind of thing. 9:30. So there we go. We're on lockdown, so there's no school tomorrow for the boys. Yay! Well, it's half term, sorry, yeah. Then going back to school. So, Richard Hall hasn't posted for a while, yeah. I noticed Rich Planet's gone very quiet as well, yeah. And he hasn't, trying to get hold of him, but signing the books, we've got them all available again. So I know what's happened there, hope he's alright. No, Richard T. Hall is, he's from up north too, yeah, a lot of Geordies in this. Alright, everyone, so, I sort of ran to steam bit there. I had other things to talk about, but you can't follow Alan, can you? When the great man speaks, it's best just to listen, is my view. And you'll see some very one-sided interviews where I just get him going and listen. Okay, so thank you very much to everybody. Oh, yeah, special thank you to all those people who volunteered to help with the typing last week. That was fantastic. Amazed. Because so many people, and all the stuff's come back in so quickly. It was just fantastic. People were so good. It was like I felt like as a teacher giving out homework in a way. But all very good students, all get full marks for turning it around and getting it straight back in again. So as you can see, there's a lot going on. St. Patrick's available for sales. We're sending the copies of that out, keeping Angie busy more than me. That's more her department, getting the stuff out the door. So please order those. Last few copies of Cymroglyphics are almost gone. The second edition will have to come out. And then it's going to be the Gwrthbwyth board game will be available with all the options. So you can extra pieces. You can just get the basic set, just buy the box if you want. Not too many people do that because they can have hundreds of pieces left over. But it will be an option. You'll have like a shopping list. You might want to get the box with the nice design on it. A good little Christmas gift. Then the new logo, which with the help of Tudor, will be interesting idea. I think people will like that. I've got to get that done next week. How are we going to get it all done? I do not know, but it has to. So what you might have learned from all this is the door is very much open to people who want to help, okay? And another thank you to Patricia for all the help with the books. And I shall play you out. Oh yeah, you can buy the CD. CD will go on sale. Is it on sale already? No, tomorrow I think it'll go on sale. It's a lovely little box designed, and you know all these songs. They're all on there, so that's all good stuff. So there we are. Lots to do. Please send me suggestions what you'd like to talk about next week. There's so much going on, and I hope that was a good show tonight. I certainly enjoyed it, and I just love listening to Alan. So I'll try and put some more of that out during the week as well. How are we going to get everything done? Through numbers and teams work. That's how. Like Alan, I've got my teeth in straight. I haven't even got onto the Babylonian star map progress, the other things that are happening. We've got photographs, new maps available. So to everybody, it's exciting times. So please, like I always say, if you want to do something or you've got a project in mind, you're not taking food out of my bowl, you are bucketing water out of the sinking ship, alright? So we are from Arnie as well, and Zavi, and Leon, all being here. Sorry I look so ropey. Goodbye.
Adios.
Adios, goodbye, yeah. Hoilvoud. Yeah, sorry I look so weird in this camera. Hopefully that's sorted out by next week.
It's because the light that's in my...
The light's not helping, you don't think?
No, the light's horrible.
Light's horrible? I guess still peril anyway. Alright, everyone. Carry on. Thank you very much. Hope everyone enjoyed that. And carry on with the comments. I'll leave that open for another, as usual, another 5-10 minutes or so. So please. Whoop. So you can listen. Don't pause it. I want to see the thing.
Oh,
Oh, it's all gone wrong right at the end. But I think we got through without too many technical hiccups this week. And all those people who say they like the when it all goes wrong the best. What's his name? Kenny Everett does history. Something like that. Hang on, what have we got? I'll tell you what I'll do actually. While reading this. There's a screen frozen.
oh, no, I paused it.
Oh, you paused it. Oh, honey. Alright, I'm just going to read through some more comments. There was so many tonight, I completely lost. I couldn't keep up with it. Gosh, yeah, all lots of good stuff about Alan Wilson. And Baron. Your exposure settings, if you can adjust, you'd look better. Paul, I think it'd take more than just exposure. No, bye-bye from Leon as well. Thank you, Leon. I will try. I agree. I have tried playing with the exposure. As I turn the exposure down, I go white like a ghost. I put it back up. And then the light changes in the evening, and it's winter time now, yeah. So there we go. Excellent. Oh, we're getting to Waterloo. Oh, that's Arnie's pet subject. Don't go on to Waterloo with Arnie. Oh, okay. So for one more song on from the album.
Yeah, another.
Hang on, I'm being invaded here. I got not so small child climbing on me. Ah! Alright everybody, enjoy, say hi to the phone. Hello, all. Hello, goodbye, say goodbye, Sam.
Bye.
Oh, yeah, nicely done. Okay, bye, hello.
Hello.
Oh. Can I still hear us?
Oh, if I could comment on you, plug your headset in there. You put my headset. The problem is if I only hearing the music through our microphone. I need to work out how to send sound straight through.
If you only could conceive just what you need.